capitalism, colonialism, and commodification. And these four C's come together. All of a sudden, we have globalization starting at the same time as the mass use of gunpowder, with the refinement of seafaring technology that allows the Europeans to go around the world, with the belief that the I knows the single God that everyone else must adhere to. Otherwise, they are not human and they will be treated as such. At the same time, the enclosure movements are happening in Europe, where the commons is essentially being privatized by power elites and landowners. And the 500 years since these sort of four C's solidified from Europe, we see the consequence of it. We're still living out the values of those four C's and the values of the, arguably the Neolithic Revolution. And so part of our task right now is to be good students of the culture, to understand that this 5,000-year drift away from communalism and reciprocity and collective stewardship and being embedded in the ecology is living within ourselves. It's living within us at a cellular level, at a molecular level, at a atmospheric level, at a cultural level. And we are playing out the notion of dominance, of materialism, of separation through every interaction. And every interaction is mediated by capital, right? Like, it's impossible to separate the economic, the political, and the spiritual. Where we live, where we grew up, where we go for holidays, who our neighbors are, what their socioeconomic, racial background is, what universities we could go to if we went to university, what our peers went to, what jobs we had access to, all of that is being mediated by capital. And so unless we become fiercely aware of this 5,000-year drift into commodification, reification of capital, extraction, and almost like addicts, being aware that we are enmeshed, addicted, complicit in the life-destroying machine. It's very hard to remove yourself, right? If you believe your water comes from a tap and your food comes from grocery stores and your identity is validated by your contribution into neoliberal capitalism, you're going to defend that way of living. And so part of our task right now is to be good students of our culture, to actively decondition, decolonize our mind, body, soul, psyche complexes, to become conscientious objectors of late-stage capitalism, and to create new relations, right? And Lynn and I often talk about this notion of new, ancient, emergent. There's a type of relationality that our souls know, our psyches know, our soma knows, that is beyond commodification, it's beyond transaction. And there is no other to even gift. And to access that state requires practice. And in a culture where people are working meaningless jobs in order to pay rent in houses they don't own and eat food that they have not themselves grown, this sort of mediated abstract capital machine forces us back into the reification of subject-object. There's a spiritual, political, economic praxis that requires this ongoing decolonization, this ongoing understanding that we may be mediated by capital at every instance, right? Getting into the car and putting fossil fuels into your car, going to the grocery store, what have you, paying for labor. All of this is being mediated, and it's also an opportunity at every moment to declare who we are to the living world. And so for me, the antidote logic of separation, materialism, rationalism is interbeing, animism, and relationality.
Beautiful.
Wow. So